Tom Cruise, the actor, is well known as Tom Cruise the Scientologist, seems to be how he would have it. But the role of Scientology's unofficial poster boy apparently has its drawbacks. There are the jokes, but also serious curiosity about what the heck Scientology is. Our number one story in the countdown, a blunt answer from the German Protestant Church. Scientology is a, quote, totalitarian organization. Of course, Germany's antipathy to Scientology is not new nor news. The government deems it a cult. But now that Mr. Cruise is in Germany to film a movie about the Nazi corporal who tried to assassinate Adolf Hitler, he's being compared to a different Nazi. A spokesman for the German Protestant Church, Thomas Gandau, says that Mr. Cruise is the, quote, Goebbels of Scientology, the reference to Joseph Goebbels, the minister of propaganda under Adolf Hitler. This film will have the same propaganda advantages for Scientology as the 1936 Olympics had for the Nazis, he says. Joining us now, a research professor from Carnegie Mellon University and Scientology expert, Dr. David Turetsky. Thank you for your time tonight, sir.
Pleasure to be with you, Keith.
Nazi references, even in Germany, would seem to be a dicey proposition. As somebody who once apologized for one myself, there might be reason to make the analogy, but it's like handling plutonium. Is this one justified?
I don't think Tom Cruise is smart enough to be the Scientology Goebbels. He could play Goebbels, but he could never be Goebbels. What he's doing with this movie is a really transparent and juvenile attempt to rebrand himself. It's comparable to if Kim Jong-il were to decide to make a movie about the life of George Washington or Nathan Hale, with Kim Jong-il playing the title role in an attempt to get in the good graces of the American people. I don't think America would buy it, and Germans are not buying Tom Cruise's movie either.
There seems to be a great deal of murkiness about Scientology, certainly in this country. Maybe Mr. Cruise has not helped that much either. There doesn't seem to be quite that much murkiness about it in Germany. Why do they call it a cult or a totalitarian organization, and is that a fair description?
It is a fair description. People call it a cult in the U.S. too. I don't think it's murky anymore. In the last couple of years, there's been a lot of publicity, a lot of exposés. And one difference, though, is that the Germans, I think, are better able to recognize a totalitarian organization because of their history. The U.S. is a lot more tolerant to deviant groups. We've had several thousand cults in this country, most of which are very small. Scientology and the Moonies are a couple of the larger ones that people are more familiar with.
And the German government's position, there were blunt references to Scientology before. Then we were told about this Tom Cruise movie. They didn't mean them. It was more a question of the sanctity of the historical places they wanted to shoot the film. Now the nation's defense minister says that Cruise can't film at the actual site of the execution of the plotters against Hitler because Cruise and the crew might damage the dignity of the place. Do we know if the German government is complaining about the movie or about Scientology or about Cruise or about all three?
Well, different German spokesmen have said different things. The original negative comments came from someone from the German military, and I guess people higher up in the government took a different approach. Certainly, I think the Germans are right to be offended at Tom Cruise wanting to play von Stauffenberg. And even if they have to cave in the end and allow him to do so on principles of free speech or artistic freedom, I think they're taking offense at this is entirely appropriate.
One would think that at first blush, Germans would welcome a big-budget Hollywood film about the story of one of the Germans who tried to kill Hitler, even if it was in 1944, that it was not a 100% support for that monster. But if that was Tom Hanks instead of Tom Cruise, would there still be this kind of controversy about this film?
I think if it was Tom Hanks, they'd be much more receptive. They'd still perhaps be a little concerned about any Hollywood production tackling a national hero. But certainly, Tom Hanks is a well-liked and respected character, and Tom Cruise is neither.
You're not the first, you're probably not going to be the last to describe Scientology as a cult. If that is the case, what will it take for that and the possible dangers of that to be taken seriously in this country?
I think they are taken seriously. You have to remember that in the 1970s, Scientology was found to have conducted the largest domestic espionage operation against the U.S. government in this country's history. They were taken seriously. There were FBI raids of Scientology offices in Washington and Los Angeles. 11 Scientologists went to federal prison, including Mary Stu Hubbard, the wife of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. So I think the government does take them seriously, and I would hope that the Department of Homeland Security continues to keep an eye on Scientology activities.
Dr. David Turetsky, Scientology expert from Carnegie Mellon, great thanks for your time tonight.